Good mornings. Yes, it's about 10:30 in the morning. I'm here in Florida. This is the glorious man, Arash. And yes, as usual, you will spot me in my car making some kind of a video without seeing my face cuz I'm just so fucking stupid. I'm not stupid. I have some good reasons that I don't want to like people see my face. I mean, I don't mind even people see my face. Actually, it's just that what he said. I don't want to be on a live show. At least not now. I don't know. Maybe later. But anyways, that's another thing. But I can see where a lot of people might find that a bit weird and unusual. So I just wanted to kind of make a address that issue, perhaps if it's for anybody. Listen. Oh, what is the date today? Today's March 13, 2018. You know what? We're just about a few days before the Persian New Year. You know, basically the day of rebirth of the humanity and nature, the day that the world and nature, if you will, they would renew itself, basically reawaken, and how do you say that? The modern nature will be born again. It's beautiful, right? A lot of people, Christians, celebrate the rebirth of Jesus, and they find quite a beauty in that. And wasn't it more beautiful than the rebirth of the world? This world that gives you everything. Anyways, so I had the honor to oh my fucking god, damn. Who would have ever thought, ever, that a woman would start in a public walking around wearing shorts that would literally just covering her butt, and that's it? How the fuck this could ever happen? Man, an American. Yes, it makes you believe in Jesus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the miracles that nobody could ever think would occur, but they did it! In your face. Suck it, loser. Oh my god. Damn. Well, I just had the glory of spotting a lady. And it always makes me feel so shameful of myself. Because you know what that happens, at least to me, when I see a woman, one of my body parts start getting a little hard and a little change in my emotions will occur. I know it's called arousal. And then I'll feel, I don't know, I shouldn't feel that way, I guess, because I had nothing to do with it, but it's a shame. It's basically what you say, what we refer, perhaps, it's a version of shame that we call haya. Is that basically what you say? Is that regardless of who is responsible for it, it's just that, you should, at either way, feel what is right and refrain from perhaps, giving it more attention or something like that. I don't know. It's amazing, right? Being born in Iran, raised in Iran, 17 and almost through the 18th birthday, coming all around to this way away isolated islands in the world called the Americas. Whole different world, a world that has been isolated and has grown to become a whole different thing. So strayed and stranded from the rest of the world, even the primarily speaking Europe. But then, thanks to the growth of media, all of a sudden hitting back the whole world and actually coming to the point of having such a magnificent effect on the world and affecting and changing the world's culture. Yes, speaking of this lady or slut who is one of the millions who, and you should actually appreciate that, because a lot of bitches run around nowadays with their ass chicks actually being also showing too, and well, I'm not sure at that point what a really difference is, but that's another story. What's funny is that, no, this is the interesting part. Like, we all kind of have this thing where we kind of draw a line, or we would be called, what we don't think it's an appropriate thing for someone to wear. However, apparently for some reasons it's a bit fucked up. Your standards are a bit different from mine. Anyways, I know what that is. Either we are all fucking sick ass people who just have problems, or we all know something. You just like to go with your way and be like, no, you know what? No, my way is right and nothing's wrong with that. But hey, your ways, hey man, you're a sick man. You have problems and that's your thing. And that's not me. You know what? You need to fix yourself. Yes, I'll get that part. All right. Yeah. So, yes, if you travel to even the farthest part of the, not even Europe, even, I've been in Turkey, I've been in Georgia, which actually, believe it or not, in Turkey or Georgia, very interesting, two countries that they're very orthodox. Well, Turkey is not, well, it is orthodox in a way, Turkey, and very radical. They're very actually radical. It's just that, in the fucking, what's the word for it? Like, on the surface, basically, if you will, or because of the public legality of it, legally speaking, a woman can wear more or less what she wants. And yes, I've seen so many girls in Turkey that, aside from the prostitutes, who would fucking wear very short clothes, very, very short clothes. And yes, this is an American empire that is borderless. Or actually, perhaps it does have borders. They just have a good job of having done a good job of making those borderlines quite invisible and looking like they don't exist. So we actually feel like we're free people while we're not free people. How do you say that? Well, we feel free people, so maybe we are free people. So anyways, yeah, or you go to the country called Georgia, which they have this whole claim on being an Orthodox Christians, and they're very, very strict and fucking quite serious about this religion, and quite radical in that way. And yes, same thing. The girls running around. I will never forget this. Swatting women walking to the church in Georgia and actually covering their hair while they're wearing short skirt. And I mean really short skirt. Yeah. And it makes me go like, woo wah wah woo wah. This is a revolution right there. How the fuck is it that a woman, for some fucking thing in her head, whatever that is, that I don't even want to know what that is, and yes, that is your fucking problem, she covers her head for some reason when she wants to go to a church, but she doesn't think that maybe she should cover her legs by any means. What? How do you explain this phenomenon? Yup. So anyways, moving on, I wanted to talk about a whole different thing when I started this thing, but thanks to this glorious lady. And you know what? This is the thing, man. Believe it or not, man, living this fucking shithole of America, on a moment basis, yes, and I have to, like you all, just, live in society. I haven't gone to the point that I want to isolate myself. Actually, I do want to isolate myself, but for some reason it's just not seeming to happen. So I have to see bitches running around all around and, kind of getting inclined towards them, and all of a sudden I have to have this internal fight inside myself. which means just one thing, suffering on a moment basis, basically, and that's the fucking biggest crime against humanity, man. You're fucking with somebody's soul, hormones, body, and everything, man. This is a pure shit, man. And it's nothing short of crime to be actually prosecuted for. No, this is really true, serious. Oh, and by the way, they say, why are you looking at us? Why are you fucking looking at my leg? Or why you're even, why such a, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that, I'm not for this, or I don't believe in that, but I don't believe in anybody to the point of wanting to rape anybody, but, and that's purely, point of some man wanting to rape another woman. That is a pure, like, that man has, it's not just, I know that it's not just because she has short clothes on it, because it doesn't just have it in America, it has everywhere, and actually very conservative Muslim countries where women actually wear very, heavy clothes or cover themselves a lot. So that's really other serious issues. But you know what? There's that factor too, believe it or not. I mean, but anyway, let's not talk about it. It's not an interesting subject. I don't want to talk shit, and I don't want to provoke somebody as much as other people provoke me or us force, but I don't want to do that shit. So anyways, going back to what I want to say, I just saw a video on YouTube or two actually about basically the lives of Jews in Iran. Now, this is not a new thing to me as in Persian in Iran and actually growing up in Iran. And actually as a Zoroastrian, I'm Zoroastrian by the way if you don't know it. So we grew up in a similar thing where it's funny, the minorities and religious minorities in Iran, because of the fact that primarily speaking, more or less, they don't believe in that dress code and covering themselves that heavily like a typical Muslims do, if they do, more or less, at least in public, because of obligation, and so forth, and same thing with alcohol consumption and so forth. So we do have this privacy where we have places that we own, and it's our basically religious places more or less, and our own communities where we can go to those places and totally go without wearing hijab, or women, they don't have to wear what is required as public dress code to be abided by publicly in Iran. Basically, they don't need to wear that kind of a costume or clothes, and they can quite relax that more or less. So they're, yeah. And I've seen some kinds of, sometimes very, not quite of a very good ones. Some girls, they take it a little bit too far. Funny is that none of the religions, going back, or primarily speaking, they were actually more or less same in line. Matter of fact, better said, the Islamic, if you will, dress code kind of really comes from the other previous religions and values and concepts, and the fact that the woman should not sexually present herself, and thing that so it's really not a Muslim thing, but it became in a thanks to the America's revolution 80 years ago, when they came up with this concept of saying, you know what, we're gonna do something that nobody's done yet, and we know everybody's gonna like it. We're just gonna, come up with this thing and say, you know what, you can dress down, girl, relax it, you want it. I want it. And everybody else wants it. So what is your problem? What is it? You have this thing in your head called humanity. Oh, fuck it, man. We'll just start drawing lots of, lines later on when we put shit in the world and we succeed in spreading this, make this contagious and basically infect the world. Once we do that, then we come back and start regulating it. The child leads to doing it, you know. But that's not part of the plot and plan right now. Right now we need to get engaged in a war and doing this. So little by little, next thing you know, by the 1920s going forward, this size of women start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. But wait, there is more. Yeah, and yes, and they sell this image to the rest of the world, and yes, it's a reality. Yes, everybody wants it. Women like it, men like it. They might talk shit about it, but they like it. You know, as I always say this. This same fucking even religious people who are actually the dirtiest people themselves say, like in Iran, yeah, by daytime they talk shit about Iran, and they just say that always woman has to be more fucking thing. Yeah, and by nighttime when they have their privacy and they retrieve their own house, God knows what kind of shit they put on and what kind of crap they do with even girls that they're not even fucking having any kind of a matrimonial relationship with. So yeah, there's a lot of crap going on in Iran. But it's not just this thing. There's a lot of, it's just throughout the whole thing. I will never forget this. I met two Saudis when I was in Turkey, and it was the Ramadan, where supposedly it's a month that, you know, Muslims should refrain from eating anything throughout the day, basically, to begin with. I'll definitely not consumption of alcohol or cigarette or anything that is truly forbidden here there by Islam, religiously speaking. And I met two fucking Saudis. They came to the park, and it was just another Turkman, I think. He just started talking to him and say, hey, you guys want a beer or something? Want to grab a beer? Or I think it was his friend who was not it was not Arab, or it was not Muslims. He said, hey, you want to go get some beer? I said, oh, not now, man. Now is Ramadan, but yeah, I will wait till Ramadan is over, then we go get some beer, you know. Cool, man. I like you, man. You know? That is so cool. Now that is revolution right there. There's lots of revolutions, man. Speaking of. Anyways, I saw this video, going back to the subject, and how do you say that? It actually took us to the inside lives of Jews in Iran, and the fact that they can drink alcohol, relax their dress code, be who they want to be, attend to their religious pilgrims and their fucking thing and other shit, and which I actually found it too much because, you know, same shit, you know. This is a fucking problem in our world. We have these people who make God out of everything, you know, basically making it this unquestionable thing and thing that you just have to bow your head down to and try to, you know, basically you have to subordinate yourself and try to, yes, this is, they do that. And it's not a late, it's that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's gone beyond, it's beyond Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, or Judaism, or the other religions, or fucking other shit, you know, that kind of crap. It's just people being stupid. That's what it is. You know? And it just takes itself a different form and different... yes, it just takes a different form and appearance to itself. That's what it is. Simple said. This is what happens, yes. You know, there's the one thing I want to say is that the only God that I believe in is the Zoroastrian God. It's called Ahura Mazda. It's called Lord of Wisdom. He's God because he has the most wisdom, and he's the source and creation wisdom, and given that wisdom to the mankind. That is for that reason very well he could be questioned if you want to question him. No problem. And going further to the point of actually saying, you know what? I don't believe in this fucking God of yours, or whatever you saying. Even if you're saying he's purely nothing but really an abstract thing, that he is just so great because of having the most wisdom and tolerance and intellectuality. Basically, this is what happens when you create a God, literally a living God out of a piece of object or something that, you know what I'm saying? Something, yes, God in its most pure, nomadic, primitive way that a man made. Basically, to try to say, oh, you know what? He will bring catastrophe upon you. He will do this to you if you, go to the wrong direction. If you kill somebody, if you hurt somebody, if you do something wrong, or further going as far as, declaring and creating this massive code of conduct. And anyway, that's another thing, but that was just interesting because I had never been inside. I've been inside a basically a church in Iran. My mom took me a couple of times. It's actually interesting. It's right across from our temple in Tehran, the church of the Christians and Armenians or Assyrians that they go to. And yeah, we went there and there was no problem. And we sat there and we actually basically, my mom, she had this thing. She believed in all, if you will, in the holiness and the fact that it comes in different ways, and the fact that it takes on different ways to itself. She didn't mind praying to some other, or trying to perhaps reach out for somebody. She believed in possessing that holiness to perhaps wanting her wish to come true, or wanting that holiness to basically grant her that wish, or whatever, however you want to say it. Yeah, my mom, she used to go to the Muslim, fucking all the time. Oh yeah. And who is this Mama Mimi? She's the fucking, excuse me, I keep using the fucking word here. But no, who are these people? She's one of these Zoroastrians. She was born and raised in a strict, isolated, if not fucking close-ended, the most close-ended community, about 60 years ago in Yaz in Iran, where basically it's just very, very isolated and very oppressed community. It's just all basically in hiding and protection from the Muslims that they thought as a pure threat to themselves, and so forth, and having these massive I'm not going to use the word prejudice, reality, this perhaps basically taken away from them because that's what they would do. They would just like my mom said, no girls was allowed to leave the village at least on her own, because they would steal these girls, and they would go and do kinds of, I don't know, shit to them, and somehow they would make them become Muslim, and she would not be interested to. Yes, that's what they would do. They would rape them. And that girl, she would not have the pride of going back to her village and going back to her parents, to her community, because now she's been raped, and she doesn't feel that. Fuck them motherfuckers. That damn thing that she wants to remain and go back to live in that community, because there was nothing but pure disdain for her. It would just get to the point that she would just kill herself. You know? So if she would just choose to remain and live in a Muslim part of that whole community, basically place outside that village, and she would become Muslim. Basically, she would marry supposedly a Muslim man, if they do, or predator very likely, the man who raped her, because that's the thing. And she would just raise children, have thing, and a new life, and her children are gonna be Muslim and so forth. Yes, so they were not allowed to leave the village, and for any reason, and that for that reason, like my mom, she didn't study more than 5 grades, because the schools beyond the 5 grades were outside the city, their village, and how you say that, and they couldn't go to that fucking thing. Only boys could go beyond the village and try to study and that forth. Anyway, man, it's such an honor to live in a thing that is interesting. Iran is home to 25,000 Jews, who is actually the biggest population of Jews in the Middle East and so forth. Amen to that. The spirit of the Persian Empire, which is nothing but tolerance and respect for all the nations of the empire, will carry on. Peace all upon you, brothers and bitches. And we'll talk again, or I will talk again. You will listen. Thank you very much. Have a good day.